Hello there, God Lowdown. Um, wow, I find myself doing quite a few responses to your videos. Um, that's actually in this case, it's actually a bit of a compliment because I'm finding your arguments interesting. This is for your video. Let me see here. Atheism, the emotional crutch. And this is going to start in that video at about the 3-minute mark. I got something to comment on what you said in that.
Okay, let's move on to our first lesson. Um, it's funny to me how people that believe in a God get a bad rap for being, emotional and not using their brains. Granted, it is emotionally appealing to believe in a God for various reasons. I'll give you that. But it's also emotionally appealing to not believe in a God, isn't it? I mean, think about it.
Okay, first of all, as far as that emotional appealing part right there, and I'm going to let that part continue to play out. Um, there's really not an emotional appeal on that. Atheists don't have as far as the atheists that don't believe in any kind of an afterlife, um, there is nothing emotional about that, as far as good emotions. Some are indifferent, some are fear that. Most people, I think we would both agree, fear death. But as far as emotional appeal, just to believe that there is no God, I'm going to have to disagree with that part. That we don't have any kind of fulfillment whatsoever in that part. Anyway, continuing on.
Not believing in a God is actually pretty cool. There's no rules. We humans actually become like little mini gods. I mean, if there's no God, you're basically God. There's no one to answer to. There's no ultimate rules. It's kind of a free for all, and so that's really kind of cool if you think about it. With no God.
I'm going to have to greatly disagree with you 100% on that statement that you made. There are rules that we adhere to that are given by society. That's evident all around you. If we actually felt that way, then the atheist crime rate would soar through the roof. You'd hear about a crime happening, and it would end up being with, yeah, figures it was an atheist, figures it was an atheist. That would be the common, if that's how, if we actually didn't follow any rules. So I think your understanding of our mentality on this is incorrect. That belief or non-belief in a God does not give us the adhesion to rules. So I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
The picture. It's kind of convenient. We're pretty much it, man. Humans are it. There's nobody else. There's nothing bigger than us, nothing greater than us. And the added bonus is that morality becomes very, very subjective and totally flexible, which is also cool. And so that's really.
Okay, morality being flexible and stuff. Isn't that what we witness all over the globe in different time periods? I mean, an example. There used to be nothing immoral about having slaves. There was nothing immoral about that. In the Bible or not mentioned in the Bible, but just keeping religion out of it and just going from the atheist standpoint on it, even atheists way back when, although much fewer in number back then, I'm sure, we're talking like 200-300 years ago, and even beyond that, would have had no moral problems with keeping slaves. So, yeah, it changes. It changes. I mean, even people who follow putting religion back into it, I already said the atheist part, but putting religion back into it, religious folks of your Bible had no problems keeping slaves. In fact, your God even promoted it and told them how to treat them. So, yeah, I would say our moral views on that have changed as a whole in society, religious and non religious alike. Continuing on.
The draw. There's a draw to atheism. So we're going to have to accept and admit that atheism and believing in evolution is just as emotionally appealing as believing in a God, just in a different way. So this means atheists can be just as closed-minded as God believers, because
Yes, atheists and God believers can both be close minded and very biased, but I would not say that they are. That it's for the reasons that you presented. At least not on what your views on atheists are. I don't believe we get a. I know personally, speaking for myself, I don't get an emotional satisfaction of any kind believing that mankind arose from a common ancestor with the great apes. I don't feel any joys or whatever with that. I don't feel insulted by that either. I'm indifferent. Evidence that I have researched convinces me that that is very likely, but but I'm indifferent to it as far as emotions go. But that's speaking for me. I mean, you might have some people out there that is, a big hoop hurrah, that it's from a common ancestor with the great apes. So I'm gonna have to disagree with the way I see atheists versus the way you see atheists. But I think a lot of your points in the beginning of the video, as far as what you were saying with Camp A and Camp B, to an extent, I can agree with that. I think that's fair. I also liked how you were saying that it would be, and now I'm just paraphrasing, to have it not be completely emotionally driven, even though humans are emotional creatures, to see if we can follow the facts and see where those lead us. Which is really funny because everybody interprets the facts differently, but you did point that out, and I agree with you on that. Anyway, I just wanted to get my shout out on my views as to the way you perceived atheists on that. I'm just going to close it off with one more thing. It's not that atheists. I mean, this is part of. I mean, at the 3-minute mark going on when you were describing atheists, is almost as if you presume that, and I could be wrong, but it's almost as if you presume that atheists do believe in a god or gods, and that we are willfully being disobedient. You got to keep in mind that we don't believe there is a God, so how are we being disobedient? We'd actually have to believe there was a God to be willfully disobedient to his authority. Would that not be a fair statement? Just asking. I'm going to leave it with that. You have a good one.